Hello, I'm Chris Willock. I am the lead receptionist at the Speckman Tutoring and Learning Center.
And hi, my name's Tara Lacio, the math tutor supervisor here in the TLC.
We would like to welcome you to our team and congratulate you on becoming a tutor.
And on being a successful student here at OTC.
The mission of the TLC is to support student learning in a manner that empowers students to take responsibility for their own learning and life.
We seek to help students recognize their own potential and to improve their skills in the increasingly diverse and demanding college environment.
Now I know this can seem like a big task.
But here in the TLC, you are not alone.
Along with your fellow tutors, we have several full-time and part-time supervisors who are always here to help promote the mission of the TLC.
And you will find those supervisors in the center of the TLC at the Super Desk.
Here at the TLC, we are one big team. From supervisors to tutors and even the fellow students, everyone is here to help one another.
We know that it is your first day and it's okay to be nervous. Just know that we are all here to support you in being successful.
It is also important to remember that no one has all the answers all of the time. So it is okay to be wrong and ask for help.
We all have worked really hard to build a great learning environment where students feel comfortable coming to us for help or to just work on their daily homework.
We just wanted to take this time to welcome you to our team.
And to let you know that there's always people around the TLC willing to help you. We look forward to getting to know you as we see you grow as a tutor and a student.
Welcome to the Introduction and Tutoring modules. Now we know when you're first starting out, you might be a little nervous. Take a second, take a breath, you're gonna do great. In the following modules, we will take a look at the aspects of being a tutor. During these modules, you will see this screen and give you time to pause for reflection and discussion over the previous modules that you just watched. So let's jump right in. In this module, we'll be looking at the different types of tutoring there are and how they work. We will also be showing you what a tutor is and does. To be a productive tutor, you first have to know the different types of tutoring you may encounter. First, let us take a look at one-on-one tutoring. This can also be called mentoring. In one-on-one tutoring, you have a set amount of time to spend with one person working on one or more subjects. Watch as we see a portion of a one-on-one session.
Hey Chris, how are you?
Hi Desiree, I'm okay.
Good. How was your biology test?
Horrible. I got an 89%.
That's not a bad grade. Do you know what the class average was?
I think he said it was like a 73.
Yeah, you did really well then. Did you write down the questions that you got wrong so you could go for them?
In a one-on-one session, a tutor gets to know the student really well and will help them in a variety of subjects. They will also usually work with the same student for the entire semester, so they can help them stay motivated and prepared for the future.
All right, so now that we went over your biology, is there anything else you want to work on?
I'm having issues with my Comp 1 class.
All right, let's look at what you're working on.
I think I'm pretty much done with it. I just need somebody to proofread it for me and make sure it goes along with the rubric.
All right, so that sounds more like a writing center question, so let's go over there and see if someone can help us with that.
Okay.
Even though a tutor is a great student, that doesn't make them an expert. We just witnessed the tutor help a student get the help from the right resource. This is just a small look into the world of one-on-one tutoring. It is important to take note that if you are doing private tutoring, you should always meet the student in a public and safe place. Now we will look at 2-minute tutoring. This is also known as open floor or forum tutoring. Let us watch as we see how the 2-minute tutoring breaks down.
What can I help you with today?
I was wondering if I did this right.
Why don't you walk me through what you did and let us check it together?
As you can see in this scenario, the tutor isn't seated, they are standing to the right of the student, bent slightly to show that they are here for the student, but not only for them. Let us watch as this continues.
So what I did is I added 3 to both sides and then I divided by 3 to get x equals 1.
What made you decide to add 3 to both sides?
The original problem's 3x minus 3 equals 0, so I added 3 to both sides to get 3x equals 3.
Even though the student was right, the tutor still wants to take the time to have the student explain the steps they took to ensure that the student knows that they know the material and won't stress over getting the question right on a test.
Is that right?
So far, so good. Now, why did you divide by 3?
3x is the same as 3 times x, so I divided both sides by 3 to get x equals 1.
See, you didn't even need my help. You're doing great.
As you can see from this scenario, the 2-minute tutoring is less personal than the one-on-one session, but it is still very effective as it helps the student with the problem at hand, but leaves them to work mainly on their own. This way, the student still remains independent, but receives the help as needed. With all the technological advances in the world, it's no wonder that we now have the option for online tutoring. This next scenario will show you how an online tutoring session works.
Hey Hannah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Is this your first time using online tutoring?
No, I've used it in previous semesters.
Okay. One of the things we've done is we've updated the platform that we're using. So let me kind of walk you through how to use it. When you first come in, we'll need you to give us your student ID number so we can log you in. And then you'll always be muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself, and that's in the lower left-hand side. If your microphone isn't working, there's a chat option. You can press the chat button in the middle. Do you see the chat button?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. There's a raise hand feature. So if you look next to your name and you click on the more button, it'll say raise hand, and so you'll click on that and it'll show me that you have a question. And that's really good if we have more than one student in here. I can tell who has a question and who doesn't. So do you have any questions that you need help on with your homework?
Yeah, I'm stuck on a problem in my math lab.
Okay. Do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to pull up the whiteboard so I can write it down?
I'd like to share my screen. How do I do that?
What you do is you go to the middle button. It'll be bright green. It says share screen. You'll click on that. It'll bring up a window. On the bottom part of the window, you should see something for you to click on that has your homework assignment. And then so you click on that and hit share screen.
Okay, I see it.
Now that the tutor and the student are all on the same page and all logged on, we will use the same steps as the 2-minute tutoring session to help this student. Not every tutor will work in the online tutoring section, but it's important to know how the system works in case you have any questions from students involving how the online system works. Next, we will look at the last type of tutoring you might encounter at the TLC. That is the group tutoring method, or study groups. Group tutoring can be a very handy tool when there is only one tutor for a subject available. This method can also be useful when trying to help multiple students from the same class prepare for an upcoming test. The following scenario will show us how a group tutoring session might work.
So does everybody have their study guide for the test?
Yeah, I've got mine.
All right, well, let's start at the top and make sure we're all on the same page.
As you can see, the tutor quickly gets the group focused and on the same page. This way, the group as a whole can work together on each problem to ensure that each student has their input to completing the study guide and getting prepared for the test. The previous scene showed you the different ways a tutor might interact with students while helping them with their questions. What you may not have noticed is that we also showed you the different ways that a tutor does their job successfully. At this time, I would like to introduce you to some of your fellow tutors and let them help you explain what a tutor is. Tutors, take it away.
A tutor is a motivator. We are the cheerleaders of knowledge. Yeah, I know that sounds cheesy, but as you get to know your students, you will celebrate their achievements. However, you'll also witness their downfalls. It's important to encourage and motivate them and keep them going. And remember, they can do this, just like you did.
A tutor is not an answer key. It's okay to not know all the answers. If you need help, just ask another tutor for help. You'll also be asked many times to check to see if the answer is correct. Instead of just checking, have them walk through their process to see if it's right.
A tutor is a director of knowledge. Sometimes students need help getting and staying on task. You will find that students sometimes need help being led in the right direction. As you saw in one of the scenes, the tutor didn't feel comfortable helping the student with their paper, but they did direct them to the right people with the right knowledge to help.
A student is a peer. It is important to be friendly with the student to let them know that you are on the same level as them.
A tutor is a representative of the TLC. It's important to remember that you represent the college and the TLC both, on and off the clock. Therefore, you should conduct yourself accordingly, being responsible, professional, and respectful at all times. While we do encourage you to have fun at work and encourage you to make learning fun for others, you should remember that a tutor is an ambassador of the TLC, and you should always support the employee policy, the college policy, and our instructors.
A tutor is also a helper. While we may know a lot about the subject area that we're tutoring, we're not doing anyone any favors by doing the work for them. What we're there is to help the students, to figure out their own problems.
A tutor is attentive and mindful. It's important when working to not be doing homework or distracted by your phone or friends. You are here for the students. Sometimes students don't ask for help, but they will show the classic signs of struggling. Over time, you'll begin to notice these signs, and your trainer will be able to help you notice when it's time to ask a student how things are going. Remember, you can't be mindful and attentive to the students if you are busy with your own stuff.
A tutor is a successful student. So first off, congrats on being a successful student. Keep up the hard work. While it is important for us as tutors to be successful students in our field, that doesn't mean we know everything. But it is important for us to continue to build and develop our skills so that the students that we're helping don't lose faith in us as tutors.
A tutor is a resource. It's our job to be there for students and help them as needed. It's important to let students know that you're available, willing, and ready to help them. If students ever apologize for bothering you, make sure that they know that it's our job to help them and that it's no bother.
A tutor is a sounding board. Sometimes students just need to say their ideas and thoughts out loud and they figure it out for themselves. Be there for them, listen attentively, and give thoughts and examples as needed.
Thanks everyone, keep up the good work. Now we have seen the different types of tutoring, and some of your fellow tutors let you know what a tutor is, and hopefully gave you some encouragement for the job ahead. Now it's time to take a few moments and pause and reflect. As a tutor, it is important to know all the different ways that we communicate with students. In this module, we will see all the different ways we communicate on a daily basis when on the job. We will also see the do's and don'ts of proper communication with students. In this scene, we will see the difference between verbal and nonverbal communication. Let us watch as the tutor helps the student.
Hi, what can I help you with today?
Notice the way the tutor greets the student. They give them a friendly greeting and have a positive look on their face. Now let's take a look at another way this could have gone.
What?
It is easy to see which one of these scenarios is appropriate, but sometimes it isn't as easy to notice what body language we are giving off to the students. Let us watch as the first tutor continues the session.
Well, I was working on my SAM assignment, but I can't seem to get it to submit right.
Oh, okay, well show me what you got.
I opened up the assignment and I'm trying to submit it, but it won't let me load the document.
Okay, well, what does it say that the document needs to be saved as for submission?
I've been making the same mistake all semester.
I've done it too. I finally got to where I would save the document by the right name when I downloaded it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you need anything else, just let me know.
All right, thank you.
Notice how the tutor keeps a positive attitude even with their body language throughout the 2-minute tutoring session. They even ended the session by reassuring the student that they were not the only one who has had this issue. When working with students, it is important to remember not to interrupt them. While it is easy to just swoop in and tell them the answer, as a tutor it is essential to not discourage the student's train of thought. In the following scenes, we will see the right and wrong way of answering a student's questions.
And what can I help you with?
I need a ton of help. I keep working on this problem, I have my notes, looked at the examples, and no matter what I do, my math lab keeps telling me I'm wrong. I'm doing what the teacher has said, but I only have one more chance and I really just feel like giving up.
Well, don't give up. A lot of times my math lab just wants you to put your answer in a different format. So go ahead and walk me through what you've done and let's see if you're on the right track, and then we can deal with my math lab.
Notice how the tutor listens to the student's problems. They're attentive and show no signs of irritation on their face. Sometimes as a tutor, A student needs to vent before they can focus on their problem. It is best to let them get it all out and get to the root of the problem. Now let us look at how that could have gone.
What can I help you with today?
I need a ton of help. I'm working on this problem and I have my notes. I've looked at the examples and no matter what I do, my math lab keeps telling me I'm wrong.
Whoa. Slow down. Let's just take this one step at a time. Show me what you're working on.
I didn't realize what time it is. I have to get to class. I'll be back later.
It is critical as a tutor to make sure that the student always feels like their concerns are heard. When a tutor interrupts a student, it can cause them to shut down and not seek the help that they need. There are many types of questions that a tutor can ask to lead a student to get the right answer. However, like any other part of tutoring, there are always right and wrong ways of asking questions. In the following scene, we will see a productive way of asking questions to students.
Hey, what can I help you with?
Can you tell me if this is right?
While it would be much easier for the tutor to answer a simple yes or no question, it would not lead the student to know why they are right or wrong.
Well, what are some ways that you can check if the problem is right or not? Right.
Can I put this answer into the problem and if both sides are equal, then the answer is correct?
Yeah, why don't we try that and see if you're correct?
Notice how the tutor used a probing question to get the student to the right answer, without just answering their closed-ended question. Now, this is not to say that closed-ended questions aren't helpful, but they should only be used as a system of encouragement to the student. As you've seen from the previous scenes, it is important to get the student to verbalize their ideas. It is also crucial for their education and for you as a tutor to lead them to the answer but not give it to them. If you have more questions about the proper ways to communicate with students and the types of questions you should use and when, don't hesitate to ask your trainer. There are many different ways that a tutor can help or hurt a student's progress. As a tutor, it is essential to remember that it is your job to encourage the student every step of the way. In this module, we are going to look at reinforcement and how a tutor uses it with every student. First, we will look at the correct way to use positive reinforcement.
What can I help you with?
I don't understand why my program isn't working.
Okay, can you walk me through what it's doing?
Well, it's supposed to multiply the two numbers entered, but it doesn't work. I enter the first number, enter the second, press enter, and it displays the first number.
All right, so what are some reasons that it could be displaying the first number?
All I can think is maybe there's something wrong with a variable.
That's a good start.
Oh wait, I put the wrong variable in the if statement. It works.
Awesome. Looks like you've got this.
You can make use of positive reinforcement by encouraging students when they are on the right track. When the student arrives at the correct answer, make sure that you celebrate their achievement every time. There are many different types of reinforcement. When and how we use these can make all the difference to a student. One of the types of reinforcement that a tutor should always avoid is negative reinforcement. The use of negative reinforcement can halt any progress a student is making and discourage them from getting the help they need. Let us take a look at a prime example of how negative reinforcement could be used in a tutoring session.
What can I help you with?
I don't understand how to do this assignment.
Well, did you study?
What? I mean, no. It's due tonight. I don't have time to study.
How do you expect me to help you if you didn't study? You shouldn't have waited till the last minute.
I don't know.
Fine, let me see if I can help.
While the tutor isn't necessarily wrong in telling the student that they shouldn't have waited till the last minute, there are many more positive ways to encourage the student to stay on top of their work. As a tutor, you should always avoid using any form of negative reinforcement with a student. Reinforcement can be delivered in many different ways to a student. As you learned in the second module, there are verbal and nonverbal ways of communication. There are also verbal and nonverbal ways of delivering reinforcement. First, let's take a look at how a tutor uses verbal reinforcement with a student. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. I got an A on my exam.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't think I could do it.
I knew you could. So what are you working on today? By encouraging the student with words, the tutor is offering verbal reinforcement. It is important to watch the tone of your voice and the words you use, because the student can misinterpret what you are trying to say. Notice the tutor's body language in the previous scenario. They kept their back straight, not slouching. They don't cross their arms, which can make them appear closed off and aggressive. Nonverbal reinforcement is just as important as verbal. The two go hand in hand, and you'll find it quite difficult to appear genuine without good nonverbal reinforcement. In the following scenario, we will provide another example of nonverbal reinforcement.
Hey, how can I help you?
Oh, hi, how are you? I really do not understand how to do this assignment.
What kind of problems have you run into?
I really do not understand how to read these topo maps.
Okay, well, why don't we look at it and see what we can do? Which line is latitude and which line is longitude?
This one is latitude because it's lying flat, and this one is longitude because it runs long ways. That's the only way I can remember it.
Well, that's completely right, and any way that you can remember it is the right way. Now, if this line is 100 and this one is 200, what is the line closest to 100?
Well, if there are 5 lines between the two, then wouldn't it be 20?
That is completely correct. See, you didn't even need my help.
Notice how throughout the session, the tutor kept a positive look on their face and even shook their head as the student worked out the problem. Nonverbal reinforcement comes in many ways, from a nod and a smile when they're on the right track, to something as simple as sitting back quietly as they work it out aloud themselves. While it is important for a student to come to the right answer on their own, as a tutor, we need to motivate them through their process. This is where partial positive reinforcement comes in handy. In this next scene, we will watch a tutor use partial positive reinforcement to help a student.
Hey Hannah, what you working on?
Hey there, Brendan. I'm trying to do accounting, but I'm having some trouble.
Show me what you're working with.
My numbers aren't adding up on this balance sheet.
What have you tried so far?
Well, I've tried recalculating the numbers, but I keep getting the same thing.
You've actually done a really good job on the math, but I don't think your numbers are adding up.
What is it then?
Have you made sure your accounts are all listed in the correct places?
Thanks. That's all it was. I moved accounts receivable into assets and suddenly the numbers are adding up.
Sounds like you got this. Great job.
In this session, the tutor used partial positive reinforcement. Notice that the tutor pointed out what the student did correctly and used that to lead them in the right direction. When the student arrived at the correct answer, the tutor praised them on doing a good job. Over the past 3 modules, we have introduced you to the different types of tutoring, what it means to be a tutor, how we should communicate as a tutor, and the different types of reinforcement that we should use while tutoring. In this module, we are going to put it all together while looking at the different tutoring techniques that we should use while trying to help students. While tutoring a student, it is important to note that you want to focus the tutoring session around their ideas. Make sure you build upon the ideas of the student and allow their ideas to take precedence over your own.
Hi, I need some help.
It looks like you're working with Excel?
Yeah, for some reason this formula is not working. What's wrong with this thing?
This is a good time to use the communication skills that we learned previously. The tutor could simply give the student the answer, but that wouldn't help the student learn to be an independent learner. Instead, the tutor chooses to build upon the student's own ideas by using a probing question.
What are some possible ideas why it wouldn't be working?
Well, let's see. The formula appears to be written right. I've got the correct cell selected, and I have the, I forgot to close my parentheses. Well, that fixed it. Thanks for the help.
Hey, you got this. It was all you.
By encouraging the student's ideas, the tutor encourages independent learning. It is important to always lead them to the correct answer with their own ideas. Simply giving them the answer will not help them in the future. In the first module of this series, we discussed how a tutor is a director of knowledge. This is when a tutor directs the students to their available resources to help them find the answers. This is important because there won't always be a tutor available while the student is working. Let's take a look at a tutor directing a student to their resources.
Hey there, what are you working on today?
Biology. I'm trying to do this worksheet, but I don't know some of the answer.
Okay, well, why don't we look at your notes?
That's part of the problem, I think. I missed class that day and now I'm really lost.
That's not a problem. Did you bring your book?
I did.
At times, a student will come to the center for help because they missed a class. It is important to remember that you are not a teacher, but you can take this time with the student to lead them in the right direction to get the help and the info that they need. There are lots of resources at your disposal. Use them. This would also be a great time to tell them that they should try to meet with their instructor about the content that they missed.
Well, it looks like you missed a really big day. I would suggest reading this chapter and then getting with your instructor about what you missed.
Referring students to their resources helps encourage them to become independent learners. In most cases, you simply need to refer them to their notes or their textbooks. But if you are unable to help the student yourself, you may need to refer them to other sources on campus. That can include another tutor or different faculty altogether. As a tutor, it is important to always show that you are available to help the students when you are on the clock. Let's watch as we see tutors that are being available versus tutors that aren't.
Hi, how can I help you?
Hey, what are you working on today?
Hey, is there a Spanish tutor in today?
I don't know, I think they're over there somewhere.
Notice how the first set of students got the help that they needed without having to ask. The tutors were available and willing to help the students. The second set of students had to ask for help because the tutors couldn't be bothered with the job at hand. This is why it is important to be there for the students. Being available is a key part of the job as a tutor. While tutoring students, it can be helpful to make use of visuals. This can be anything from drawing to pictures in their textbooks or real-life examples.
Hey there, Shayna. You working on sign language today?
Yeah.
What would you like help with?
Well, we're working on the alphabet in class, and I'm not really understanding.
That's okay. We actually have a chart that would be perfect for this. So, were there any letters in particular you were having trouble with?
Actually, all of them. I'm getting them mixed up.
Well, that's what we're here for. Why don't we go through the alphabet?
Okay. Okay. Wow, that actually helps a lot. Thank you.
In this example, the tutor was able to effectively convey the information by drawing out their example. Having something visual to look at, like a picture or a drawing, can be very effective at helping a student grasp a concept. You can even use examples from real life. Part of being a tutor is just helping a student stay organized. This can be a tricky subject to help a student with because every person lives at a different level of organization. However, just like there are people who tutor math, science, and computers, there are also people who tutor study skills. Let's take a look at a study skills session where the tutor helps a student organize their study habits.
Hey TJ, I was told this is your first semester back in college and you're wanting some help getting organized?
Yeah, I can't seem to get myself into a rhythm. I'm barely able to keep up with everything that needs to be done.
It can be rough. How are you keeping track of all the things that are due today, day to day?
I kind of just write things down on a piece of paper and hope for the best.
All right, well that's one way of doing it, but I would recommend getting a planner.
I have one, but never really used it before, so it just became something that I carry.
Well, why don't we take a look at that planner and see how we can make it work for you from day to day.
Helping a student become organized comes in many shapes and forms. This is just one example of how we as tutors help the student organize for college life. Do not hesitate to take your own personal ways of organization and showing the student what works for you. As a tutor, there will be times that you will encounter difficult students. These can come in many different forms. Some will come in unprepared, some will come in with nothing but complaints about their instructors or the college. Let us take a look at how a tutor should handle a difficult student.
Hey, what can I help you with today?
I am so lost. My instructor goes so fast, I can't ever understand what the concepts that he's trying to teach us.
Oh, well, have you tried talking to him about it?
He doesn't seem like the guy that would really care.
Well, I'm sure that he does. Have you emailed him about it and tried telling him that you're having troubles keeping up?
No, it's just Jacob Llewellyn, and he really doesn't seem like the guy that would care of an email, and that wouldn't fix it.
I know that it feels that way sometimes, but I promise you that all of our OTC instructors really do care about their students.
As a tutor, it's necessary to support the instructors and staff of the college. We are all here to help the students succeed. Most situations that arise where the student is having issues with an instructor can be solved with the student and instructor meeting and discussing the issue. If this doesn't resolve the student's issue, then you can always direct them to other people that can help. It is important that you as a tutor show support to our faculty and staff. There are many times when being a tutor just means sharing your own experiences with a student. As a fellow learner, they will benefit from the things that you have done right, and they will be able to not make the same mistakes that you may have made. Once again, congratulations on becoming a tutor.